You open a group photo, everyone is smiling, everyone was there except you. Your chest tightens, your stomach drops. It feels almost physical, but the real answer is far stranger than hurt feelings. Your brain doesn't have a separate system for social pain. It uses the same one it uses for a broken bone. Notice that. It's happening to you right now every time you're left out of something small. In Psychologist Kipling Williams spent decades studying this exact moment, and he built a simple digital ball tossing game called Cyberball, and two computer-controlled players toss a ball back and forth with a real participant. Then, at some point, they simply stop passing to them. That's it. No insult, no cruelty, just silence. And yet, participants reported genuine distress, not mild annoyance, real, measurable pain. Here's what nobody tells you. This isn't a metaphor your brain invented to describe a bad feeling. The anterior cingulate cortex, the region that fires when you stub your toe, lights up the same way when you're ignored. Your brain evolved this way for a reason. For most of human history, being excluded from the group wasn't an inconvenience. It was a death sentence. Psychologist Roy Baumeister called this the belongingness hypothesis. Humans, he argued, have a fundamental drive to form and maintain lasting bonds, one as basic as hunger or thirst, not a preference, a requirement for survival. 10,000 years ago, a person cast out of the tribe faced predators alone, harsh winters alone, no one to share food when the hunt failed. So evolution did something ruthless and brilliant. It wired exclusion directly into the pain network. That way, you couldn't ignore it, you couldn't shrug it off. Your ancestors who felt nothing when the group turned away didn't survive long enough to pass on that indifference. You inherited the ones who felt it most. So here's the twist. The sting you feel when a text goes unanswered isn't oversensitivity. It's an alarm system doing exactly what it was built to do thousands of years later in a world it was never designed for. Wait, that means your brain is reacting to a group chat the same way it once reacted to being left outside the fire circle at night. Psychologist Mark Leary took this further with what he called the sociometer theory. He proposed that self-esteem itself isn't really about how you feel about yourself in isolation. It's a gauge constantly and quietly measuring how included you are by others. When the gauge drops, you feel it as low self-worth. But what it's actually tracking is your standing in the group. Think about that. Your sense of self may be less a mirror and more a social thermometer, always reading the room whether you want it to or not. Consider what that means for a normal Tuesday. You scroll past a photo of coworkers at lunch you weren't asked to join. Nothing happened to you directly, no one said a word, but the gauge drops anyway, quietly, automatically, before you've even decided how you feel. That's the strange part. You don't choose to feel excluded. Your nervous system decides first, and your conscious mind scrambles afterward to explain why your mood just changed. And here's why that matters to you today. That flicker of dread before you open a group chat, that pause before hitting send on a message that might get left on read, that isn't weakness. It's an ancient survival circuit still running, still checking whether the tribe still wants you. Modern life produces thousands of tiny exclusion signals a day that ancient brains never had to process. A like you didn't get, a meeting you weren't invited to, a friend group photo you weren't in. Each one trips the same wire that used to warn your ancestors they might be left to face the world alone. You are not broken for feeling this. You are running very old software on very new hardware. So the next time exclusion stings sharper than it seems like it should, don't talk yourself out of it. Don't call yourself dramatic. Recognize it for what it is. The oldest alarm system you own, still doing its job thousands of generations later. You open a group photo, everyone is smiling, everyone was there, and now you know exactly why it still matters that you weren't.